Hello everybody, this is Ogre Boy, and I'm going to be doing my review for the 2015 movie Ant-Man. The movie is directed by Peyton Reed and written by Edgar Wright, Joe Cornish, Adam McKay, and Paul Rudd. And it's from a story by Edgar Wright and Joe Cornish. In this movie, we are introduced to Scott Lang, who is recruited by Hank Pym to steal this technology that's being made by Hank's young partner, or old partner, who was trying to create a suit that's kind of like the Ant-Man suit that Hank had made before and everything, because he doesn't think the technology needs to be made and everything. He thinks it's too dangerous and everything. So movie's pretty much Scott Lang training to for this heist to go in and steal the suit and everything. And towards the end, Scott and this guy who becomes the Yellow Jacket have to fight each other and everything. It's a pretty good movie. The first 25-30 minutes of it is a little bit slow and everything, but once he starts training and stuff and everything, the movie really picks up pace, and it's a lot of fun to watch. The story is pretty funny. The characters are funny and stuff. The story, or the cinematography by Russell Carpenter is pretty good. I like some of the scenes, like the action scenes and stuff, especially the scene where Ant-Man and Yellow Jacket are fighting on the Thomas the Tank Engine toy train and in Cassie's bedroom. I thought that was just a really cool scene. The visual effects in this are pretty good too, because there's a scene where the Thomas the Tank Engine toy gets blown up and everything, and it looks exactly like a real toy. I don't know if it was CGI. It probably was, but however they did it, it looked awesome. The editing by Dan Lebental and Colby Parker Jr. is really good as well. I think they did a good job editing this movie very well. And the score by Christoph Peck is okay. It's like a lot of other MCU movie scores. It's not anything extremely special. It works for this movie, but it's not really anything that memorable or anything. But I really enjoy this movie for the most part. Like I said, the story is just really fun to watch and everything, and the characters are very, very well written and everything in this movie. I do think that the acting in this movie is also pretty good. Paul Rudd plays Scott Lang, and who becomes Ant-Man, and he does a really good job playing the character. When I first heard that Paul Rudd was going to be in this movie, I was like, this isn't going to work. It's going to be absolutely terrible. I like Paul Rudd a lot, but I know him more for his comedic roles in movies like Knocked Up and Wanderlust and stuff like that. I know he's done dramas in the past before too, but I didn't expect Ant-Man to be as good because of his casting, but I thought he did a really good job. Evangeline Lilly plays Hope Van Dyne, who is Hank Pym's daughter, and she does a really good job. The chemistry between her and Paul Rudd is really good, and I like they kind of tease during the mid-credit scene about her becoming the Wasp later on, which she does in the sequel. Michael Douglas plays Hank Pym, and I think he did a very good job. I'm not a very big fan of Michael Douglas for some reason. I think part of it is he's kind of been typecast and stuff, but I've never been a huge fan of him as an actor, but I thought he was great as Hank Pym in this movie. Um, Corey Stoll plays Darren Cross, or the Yellow Jacket, the villain. Uh, I think that he was okay as a character, but the character is one of the weakest MCU villains to me. I think he ranks up there right with Malekith as one of the more forgettable MCU villains and everything. He was okay, but I didn't really care too much for him. Um, I think he had a lot of potential to be a lot better villain than he was. And Michael Pena has, in this, he plays Lewis, who's a friend of Scott, who kind of helps him with the heist and everything. He's a really likable character. He steals every scene he's in and everything. I love the parts when he's telling stories, trying to explain that all these people are telling him how to get messages for Scott and everything. It's just a lot of fun to watch and everything. Um, but yeah, this is a pretty fun movie for the most part. I think, like I said, the special effects are really good in this for the most part. There is some crappy CGI, but for the most part, it had good visual effects and everything, and it's just a really fun time. Like I said, the first 30 minutes or so, it is really kind of slow and everything, but once things pick up, they don't really slow back down or anything, and it's a lot of fun. I think in a way, I think it's kind of underrated because it's not one of the most talked about MCU movies and everything, and I don't get why people don't like it as much as some of the other ones, because I think it's just as good as some of them. I don't know if I'd say it's one of the very best MCU movies though, but it's still a lot of fun and everything. So I'd give Ant-Man 8 out of 10. It's definitely worth watching, at least if you're doing a marathon of the MCU movies, and it's still fun to watch even if you're not, because it's still a good movie. And I love the small appearance we get from Anthony Mackie as Falcon in the scene when him and Ant-Man are fighting. I think it's just kind of a really hilarious scene and everything. But anyway, that's my review for Ant-Man. If there's any movies you'd like me to review or top 10 lists you want me to do, let me know in the comments and I'll get to them as quick as I can. And feel free to like, subscribe, and comment, and let me know what you thought of this movie. Do you think it's overrated, underrated, or just gets just enough credit, or what? Let me know in the comments, and thank you, and have a good day.